Hey everyone, Nerd Day Mark here, and it's time to go over episode 3 of Kamen Rider Gotchard. And this is not intentional that I am wearing a Pokemon t shirt. I swear. Wasn't on purpose. Uh, Another good episode. I really enjoyed this. I think the pacing and tone of the show now has tweaked itself a bit from the first episode. So if this is the style we're gonna get, this is really good. I'm actually really enjoying it. I do like when they do like the previously, where they do a quick recap of last week's episode. That the border around it is chemi cards, and it shows like the blank ones, and then just ones that are actually now obtained. I think that's really cool. That's really smart. I really enjoyed that element of it. So our malice human this week is a guy who seemed kind of like upset that everyone was like enjoying themselves and this and that, and he even, I guess he was just upset about everyone laughing and pulled out a really tiny knife. And our chemi of the week is going to be Venom Dake or Venom Dake. The funny thing about that is, um, we actually find out it's not just that one. There's more than one. So I was like, okay, cool. And his whole thing when he's in his mushroom amalgam form is he releases spores that make everyone laugh, and then they grow mushrooms on their head, but they're actually poisoned. And I was like, this will be an interesting episode. I do enjoy how they are doing things and how things are handled. Um, like, I'm wondering how often, because Hotaro is making another delicious bento. You know how I feel about this. He did the yuzu pepper sauce in the first episode. I'm like, what is he cooking this time? This time he made the pumped up big fried katsu bento. And I was like, you know what? It looks good. I personally would eat the bento. Just sidebar. That's that's just my opinion. I also like that customers and his mom are pointing out the fact that he is very upbeat and happy. And um, I wonder how much of a trend that's going to be from a character standpoint, because it's probably going to get annoying. I'm just going to say that right now. From a fictional standpoint, like me watching it, I'm not annoyed by it, but we find out because instead of leaving for school, he leaves, but he goes right to the alchemy academy. So I'm like, is he just not going to go to school anymore? Like, or like, because I don't know what's going on with that. But we do get introduced to two more of the Alchemy Academy students. I think it's really funny that right at the bat, I believe her name was Icho Rengai, um, in his face, because he's talking about wanting to befriend all the Chemi cards, and she's trying to sell him a Chemi card, the Dokiro Majin card, and she's like, even like, yeah, I'll cut you a deal on it, sell it to you cheap. And I'm like, that is me right now. That is a lot of us right now who are buying all these booster boxes. Because let's face it, we got dupes. We're trying to get rid of them. So all of us are Icho right now, just trying to sell them. And we find out our silent iPad speaking student from that we briefly saw in the last episode's name is Suruhara Sabimaru. And so I was like, okay. So we got introduced to two new more people. So that's really cool. But I do, like, I brought up the whole Hotaro being like very enthusiastic and upbeat, because even it seems like everyone was just over being around him already, especially Kudo. Like, her, especially like, why is he upbeat? Why are you happy? Why are you enjoying life right now? And we get a rundown again of the plot and everything that's going on for Mr. Minato, talking about how, the 101 chemies have escaped. They've already started to capture some of them. So I feel like that's how they're going to handle this, because let's face it, there's 101 chemies. We're not getting 101 episodes where there's 101 chemies individually, one each week. So it makes sense. So we already know Doki Romajin's been captured. And then we have the other ones from before, so that's an extra one. And then Even Hotaro's like, I want to befriend them all. Give me one of your moody ones you've already captured. I'm going to be friends with it. And he was given the Appare Bushido. And I was just like, okay, so there's another one to check off. So I was like, all right, we're making progress through the 101 chemies right now. And you know how I said this is like, the show gave me like Yu-Gi-Oh vibes with Pokemon and Kamen Rider Blade. The fact that they have a Chemi Riser, now I know they've used Riser before, this and that, but I'm like, the way that looks kind of looks like the visor thing from Ryuki, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, it's kind of like the absorber from Blade, but on your hand like this. But this is to apparently help them capture and track down and everything for the chemies for the alchemists, because let's face it, not all of them are a Kamen Rider. That's basically just Hotaro. And it looked cool, and I was like, oh, a merch item that isn't even released for sale yet? Intriguing. And I kind of want it, not going to lie. So everyone is now going out to find some chemies. And they're already planting the seed of the relationship. And not relationship as in dating, but just like the dynamic between Kudo and Hotaro, because he's all like, hey, you're gonna go with me? Let's go catch some chemies. And she's like, no, I can do this on my own. And she's like, what am I, like, your hand? Like, basically, just go, she wants to go on her own. And I was just like, okay. I was like, I like that. And even, but Hodor was kind of shocked because, he probably was like, hey, we aren't friends. Like, I thought we're best friends now. He had that kind of demeanor. But we find out she really doesn't need his help because she captures pellets very easily on her own. And then we find out, like I told you before, Venom Drake is not Venom Dake. I'm going to call him Venom, just Venom. Is not the only amalgam this episode. We have this weird shark submarine Malcolm that's actually stalking her because she's pretty and is like, you're the one for me. So it's basically someone who's infatuated. I also realized the humans who are possessed can switch between human form and their amalgam form on a whim, which we didn't see in the last episode or in the first episode. So the first episode was one of the sisters, but I found that very intriguing that was a thing. So that was pretty cool. But the fact that we have 2 in one episode, instantly I'm just like, all right, we're definitely going to progress through these chemies that have been released fairly quickly. I have not done a full tally. I probably will before the end of the episode, this review. I'll probably be like, okay, so in total, this is how many are in captivity, have been captured. I always figure out Hotaro's friend's name, but I feel like there's something up with how the alchemists erase the memories of everyone who witnessed a chemi, because he's still like, I saw a monster. I know I did, but how do I know I did if I didn't see it? But I must have seen it because I feel like I know him. And I'm like, that's cool. And then, he bumps into the Venom amalgam and instantly is taking photos and like, yeah, there we go. I find there's character growth in this for Hotaro, even though we're 3 episodes in. And I kind of like that because he has been so optimistic and not like egotistical, optimistic, like cocky and arrogant, but more like blinded by it's not so easy just to be friends with the chemies. And I kind of like that because he wants to be friends with all of them. And that's not the case because when he goes to fight this amalgam, he tries to use Bushido. And instead of it working, Bushido, a sword, comes out and starts attacking him. So he has to do his usual Hopper 1 Steamliner combo. But this monster actually got the best of him and actually was able to poison him. And our mystery spanner dude has been watching on from the shadows, just like the end of the last episode. And I'm like, okay. So they're setting up with him. And like I said, this character development with Hotaro is really good for an early episode anyways. Because him being so upbeat, I'm gonna befriend them all. Watch me, and just thinking he can go up to a chemi and be like, "Hey, how's your name? Let's. What's your name? How you doing? Let's be friends." Like that's not the case, and So he goes into a practice area where you would practice, like, martial arts, any weapon training, and he takes out the wooden practice sword, and he gets confronted by Spanner. And okay, listen, I'm just saying right now, as an antagonist, because he hasn't said anything, he's been kind of lurking. Now he's actually talking, and the way he's interacting with Hodor, I'm like, I really like him. He's a good character, and he wants the Gotchard driver. Hotaro isn't good enough to be a Kamen Rider, and he even, he has to slap him around a bit with a practice sword to teach him a lesson. And I feel like this was one or two things, because it kind of introduced our antagonist and showed his personality and his feelings and what he's after. He wants a Gotchard driver, and also and we have two different sides to how they feel about the chemies. Hotaro wants to befriend them all, wants to see a world where chemies and humans could just live together and be friends, whereas Spader just sees these chemies as tools, and that's it. And one of the cool things is, when he's attacking Hotaro, Hopper 1 jumps in, Hopper 1 gets knocked down, Hotaro makes the save, takes the sword strike right to the back, and this is what kind of gets Abra Bushido on his side. So I'm like, okay, it's seeing how pure his heart is. Now, the one thing is, from a foreshadowing standpoint, even though nothing specifically was said for foreshadowing, but we know how upbeat characters go. He's upbeat, he's happy, but let's face it, there'll be a time where that's not going to be the case. And I'm telling you right now, that Berserk form better hit good. I know we're only 3 episodes in. I don't like to think too far ahead in the future. But if he's this upbeat, it's only going to make that Berserk form that more just good when it happens. Now, one thing that did happen, so we saw Udo actually fighting our Venom Malcolm. And I thought that was really cool, because basically that little chemi riser thing, like, she was using it, and like, because she had pilots in there, a little like holograph type thing of a pistol was coming out, so you can actually use this thing and it can actually use powers of the chemi cards. And I was like, okay, this thing's pretty cool, honestly. And it does change the landscape for me when I was like, okay, like, the alchemy, it's magic, it's levitation, okay, it's not really alchemy, but I like the way that this adds another element of the alchemist being able to assist Hotaro when he's a Kamen Rider, instead of just fire leaves and, using stuff like, bringing something over to block an attack. But honestly, Kudo fighting the Amalgam, it's not really working out. Even Mr. Minato's there, and my favorite thing is we got our second form for Gotchard. And this time it was Bushido with Skibos, and it was Apare Skibo, and I like it. I like the red on it. Like, looking at the photo on the DX Gotchard driver box, like I said, like, I was like, this doesn't really look, the best on the box. It did, but seeing the actual henshin sequence, seeing the suit and this and that, I was like, all right, I'm sold on it that way. And I did like the Gotcha Tornado, which is kind of like a sword weapon thing. The insert song that they played during this fight, it's kind of a banger, not gonna lie. It was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it, actually. And he hit his rider kick, but it wasn't like a normal rider kick. There was a tornado, and I swear he was hitting the Ken and Ryu freaking spinning kick for his kick finish. And I was like, alright, that's pretty cool. And Venom Dake has been captured. And I'm sitting here like, okay, cool. Episode's basically over, winding it down a bit. And then I completely forgot that Kudo was being stalked by this other human. And they all ended up getting, like, trapped in the ground by, like, the ground turning to water. And I was like, oh, it's going to end on a cliffhanger where he's, like, walking towards them. Okay, 2-parter. No. He got shot out of frame. and we see our dude Spanner there, and we get. I didn't think we were gonna get the transformation. There's like no time left really in the episode. But man, okay, so his little wrench device thing where he's like like this, that's what it looked like in my head. I can't pantomime it. Looked really good. That transformation was great. The suit, oof. Oof. If you've seen my candy toy videos, like when they showed the Soto for that and the premium Bandai version, and I saw it, I was like, that is my suit. That is my favorite suit. I need it. I love it. I love it so much. And, he starts fighting a little bit. We got another guitar riff insert in there. I was like, ooh, good little music. I was like, dun dun dun. And um, it literally ended with him announcing who he was, which was Valvoline or Vaseline. I'm not gonna get his name right, and I have a whole list of V words. I'm gonna call him something different every time. Just was it Vanguard? No, Viceroy? No, I really actually, I legit don't know. So until I learn the name, we're gonna have the first V word that pops in my head is what he's being called. But I really enjoyed this episode. I think where the pacing isn't bad. I think it's one of those things where it's like a lot of people after the first episode are like, nah, this ain't it. This show ain't hitting. A lot of people are now in the camp of okay, after episode 2, they're liking it a bit more. I feel like the momentum, the pacing, and everything else is really good. How long it can last, I don't know. Uh, I would the fact that I feel like the regular school life stuff is kind of pushed to the side right now, but I'm still kind of this is like the feeling out, setting the tone phase and world building. So I get we're not going to get classroom stuff and like there's the Alchemy Academy. That's why I was like, how do you balance the Alchemy Academy, his regular school, being at home, catching chemies? So I was like, there's got to be they're gonna have to find a balance somehow. But for right now, I'm not really too harping on that too much. I guess I'm gonna wait until if we're like 6, 7 episodes in, and then a lot of the other stuff is just kind of not there. That's when I'll be like, okay, but it's supposed to be in school. Like people are just not gonna realize he's not in class. But as of right now, I'm really enjoying the show. I really liked it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of episode 3 of Kamen Rider Gotchard. That being said, that's it. I thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.